Welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping right in and taking a nostalgic look at those childhood earworms. You know the ones, those super catchy little tunes that somehow get stuck in your head for days on end. But we are going to peel back the layers of these familiar melodies because, as you'll see, they're actually carefully engineered educational tools hiding right in plain sight.
So it really brings up a fascinating question. Are these just harmless earworms, or are they engineered learning matrices? When we start analyzing the lyrics and the structures of these seemingly silly, often bilingual songs, a pretty amazing pattern emerges. They're not just noise. They are highly structured frameworks designed specifically for early childhood cognitive development. Basically, they're literally programming the foundational logic, language, and survival skills of the developing mind.
Here's the roadmap for how we'll break this down. First, numbers, colors, and cognition. Second, learning through animal friends. Third, navigating the big world. Fourth, teaching safety and boundaries. And finally, why these rhymes matter.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, Numbers, Colors, and Cognition, the building blocks of the mind.
Take the classic Hindi rhyme Ek Mota Hathi, which translates to one fat elephant. It uses these escalating, almost absurd scenarios to completely disguise rote counting from 1 to 5. So we start with one elephant stuck in the rain. He signals for a friend and boom, now we have 2 elephants stuck on a narrow path. They call another, making 3 elephants trying to ride a tiny bicycle. Then 4 elephants sit on a vegetable cart that inevitably breaks. And finally, 5 elephants get trapped in a monkey's net before they're freed and dance together. The child isn't just counting numbers in a vacuum here, they're actually following a logical, sequential progression of narrative problem solving. It's brilliant.
Then you have the wildly popular Finger Family song, which packs multiple learning objectives into just one fast-paced stanza. It maps family roles directly to visual color recognition. Daddy finger is yellow, mommy finger is blue, sister is pink, brother is red, and baby is green. So the song is forcing the child's brain to simultaneously process social taxonomy, like identifying who makes up a family unit, while at the exact same time memorizing the color spectrum. It's a highly efficient, dual-layered cognitive workout.
Moving on to Section 2, Learning through Animal Friends, Sounds and Empathy. By analyzing the lyrics from songs like Cow Lola, we see this seamless, almost effortless bilingual integration. The song mixes English vocabulary with Spanish words like español and hola, and it ties the whole thing together with foundational animal sounds like moo. It perfectly bridges cultural and linguistic gaps for a toddler by using the universal language of animal noises as an anchor.
So, these repetitive verses in songs like Old MacDonald aren't just there to be noisy and fun. They're actively drilling phonological awareness. That's the vital ability to recognize and manipulate the spoken parts of words. When children repeatedly sing with a moo-moo here or an oink-oink there, they are literally, physically, practicing the phonetic building blocks necessary for enunciation, for reading, and for complex communication way later in life.
Let's look at Section 3, Navigating the Big World, Structures and Scenarios. Consider the muffin man who bakes on Morning Street versus the ice cream man who chills on Morning Street with his frosty van. Swapping out just a few key vocabulary words within the exact same structural rhythm actually helps children safely categorize different real-world professions and community roles. The predictable musical template makes this vast, confusing outside world feel organized, categorized, and totally safe.
We see a clear escalation of this world building in the Hindi rhyme Titli Udi, or the butterfly flew. The butterfly escalates her transportation attempts, right? First a bus, then a train, and finally a plane. This introduces children to massive public transit systems. But there's a vital, recurring problem in the lyrics. She faces the very persistent issue of finding a seat. It introduces the child to real-world logistical challenges and the concept of navigating shared, crowded public spaces.
Which brings us to Section 4, Teaching Safety and Boundaries, Emotional Resilience.
This leads us to a pretty fascinating climax. Are nursery rhymes actually survival guides? Honestly, when you strip away the cheerful melodies, you find highly direct, real-world survival and safety instructions being sung directly to vulnerable toddlers. Far from just encouraging playful jumping, these songs offer incredibly strict safety directives. The puddle song, for instance, explicitly warns that if you see a puddle, you must slow down so you don't slip and fall. In hide-and-seek songs, lyrics firmly state that the hatch is not a place to play, and specifically warn the child to keep a safe distance. These songs are actively, systematically conditioning physical risk assessment right into a child's daily routine.
But here's where it gets even more profound. How Titli Udi teaches social boundaries.
Remember how the butterfly was on the bus and the train and couldn't find a seat? Well, the lyrics tell us she starts crying. Then strangers, the driver, a monkey, and a rabbit, each tell her to come to them. But listen to her response. Hat badmash, mera ghar hai paas, which translates to, back off mischief maker, my house is near. The crying butterfly repeatedly sets firm boundaries against these strangers. It explicitly teaches children how to assert themselves, reject unwanted advances, and use the safety of their home as a verbal shield against predators. It's a real game changer.
Finally, Section 5. Why these rhymes matter. The universal language.
Across completely different cultures, we see a unified framework. Hindi and English songs alike tackle cognitive math and logic. Bilingual songs like Cow Lola and classics like Old MacDonald anchor language and phonics. And the Puddle song, along with Titli Udi, tackle crucial safety and boundaries. This proves that across cultures and languages, these seemingly innocent songs uniformly execute a remarkably consistent, highly structured developmental curriculum.
The media our children consume from the moment they can hear hides a brilliant, protective, and educational matrix right in plain sight, wrapped in melodies we end up remembering for a lifetime. So I'll leave you with this. Next time you hear a simple rhyme, what hidden lessons are you going to decode?